Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And I'd like to welcome everybody here on Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, for our public hearing at 5 o'clock. And I'd like to thank our clerks, Tina and Emily. I'm sorry, and Lauren. I'm going to get it straight one of these times, Lauren. I apologize. So with that being said, I want to take a minute and recognize President Pro Tem Espinal is here. And as always, I'd like to thank Bobby Azar. And we got Lisa from the City Solicitor's Office. And I don't see any other colleagues besides the committee members. They join us as we go along, we'll mention it. Okay, with that being said, we're going to start. We got a few items to go through, and then of course a meeting upon the rise. So, item number one. Oh yeah, how about if we do that? Let's do a roll call.
Okay. Chairman Narducci?
Here.
Vice Chairwoman Castillo?
You're muted.
Present.
There you go.
Councilwoman Harris?
Present.
Councilor Miller?
Present.
Councilman Espinal?
Present.
And
Vice President, you have a quorum.
President Pro Tem.
Mr.
I introduced you as being here, but it slipped my mind that you are now a member of the Ordinance Committee.
I am all part of your committee, sir.
Hey,
Mr.
Councilwoman
Chair.
Harris, did you have something to say?
Yes, sir. I have a question. I'm a little tired. Are we in a public hearing?
Right now, we're in the public hearing, correct?
I never heard us do a roll call in public hearing. I must show up more often. Okay.
Yeah, no, we do. I just want to make sure you're on your toes, that's all. So with item number one,
Mr.
can I get a
Chairman,
motion?
Mr. Chairman, do you want me
Yes.
to, sorry, Lisa Freeze, do you want me to put on the record the
Yes.
governor's executive order?
Yeah, I thought I asked you to do that.
Excellent, thank
Would
you.
you please, Solicitor?
Sure. So the governor's executive order remains in effect with regard to the legality of electronic telephone and video meetings under the Open Meetings Act. This meeting has been properly advertised and convened under the Open Meetings Act. And as a reminder to the board, under the State Zoning Enabling Act, no amendments can be made after the public comment is closed, and all discussions and questions must take place during the public hearing and not after, when the committee reconvenes on the rise.
Thank you, Solicitor.
You're welcome.
And see, Councilwoman Harris, I even need somebody to keep me on my toes.
We love Lisa. Lisa will do it for us.
So, before we begin, item number one, we have a letter from the CDC. Can I get a motion to make that Exhibit A, please?
Making a motion.
Motion made by Councilwoman Castillo, seconded by
Second.
President Pro Tem Espinal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Azar, as always, could you give us your input on item number one, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Robert Azar, Deputy Director of the Department of Planning and Development. This is a petition from DNC Acquisitions. We're talking about a property at 45 to 47 America Street. Currently, this is a property that's in the three-family residential zone, the R3 zone. And this is a property that has two buildings on it right now, two houses, which makes it non-conforming, both in terms of the number of buildings that are on a lot and also in terms of the number of dwelling units on the lot. The owner of this property wishes to combine the buildings together into one building and essentially reconfigure the space. So adding a little bit more floor area, but more significantly changing the number of dwelling units to a total of 14 units. Again, this is a non-conforming property. I don't know how many bedrooms it has today, but between the several units in both of these properties, I think it's probably approaching that many bedrooms or even exceeding that. So essentially, this is a reconfiguration of the space. Because it has this many dwelling units, 14, that's not allowed by right in the R3 zone. And so the proper way to achieve this higher number of units is to request a rezoning from the city council. Any rezoning has to be found to be consistent with our city's comprehensive plan, which lays out the scheme for zoning throughout the city. The City Plan Commission has reviewed this, and you just introduced that letter. The Plan Commission has found that this is consistent with the comprehensive plan because it's in an area of the city that the plan says can accommodate 1 family, 2 family, 3 family, and multifamily dwellings. This with more than 4 would be considered a multifamily dwelling. One thing that the commission was a little concerned about was that the site was entirely paved. And the commission wanted to see that the site was had some pervious surface and some landscaping added to it. So they did add a condition to their recommendation of approval that the applicant shall make an effort to introduce pervious surface on the site and meet the canopy coverage requirement by making plantings under the supervision of the city forester. This does not have to be anything that's noted on the zoning map, but it's a condition that we would like to see and we would like to work with the applicant on. So the commission's recommendation is that the council find this consistent with the comprehensive plan and make the change to R4.
And Bobby, if I'm not mistaken, like I asked you earlier, this doesn't open up a Pandora's box on us because if anybody wants the same kind of change, they still got to come before the zoning to get it done, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So what you're doing here is a map change to the zoning ordinance. The ordinance consists of a book of text with all the regulations, and it also consists of a map. This is a change simply to the map for this one piece of property. It is and you're going to see 3 other similar changes this evening. So what I'm saying now goes for all of those. Any time there's a change to either the text or to the map, only the council can make those changes because these are ordinances that are passed by the council. So if somebody else came to you with a similar proposal, you would have to analyze it in the same way and make the same sort of findings that are required. Some areas of the city would not be conducive to this kind of change and would not be consistent with the plan. But in this case, we believe it is.
Thank you, Bobby, as always. And knowing Mr. Corsetti the way that we know Mr. Corsetti, a lot of the projects he's involved in have been great projects. I know I can speak firsthand on that because I've seen what him and his people are doing with the mills on Branch Avenue. Councilwoman Miller, would you have anything to add on this matter?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. I had an opportunity to speak with Bob, the petitioner, and the legal counsel for the petitioner. So I'm well aware of the project and fully supportive of it. Thank you.
Okay, as we all know, that always makes it easy when the council person likes the project moving forward. Okay, can I have a, motion to accept item number 1? No, I don't need a motion,
We
right?
don't need a motion as of right now.
Okay.
We do have Mr. Marandola on behalf of the petitioner.
Mr. Marandola, would you like to speak on behalf of the petitioner?
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Nicholas Goodyear. I'm the attorney here on behalf of the petitioner. I followed a link that was sent to Mr. Marandola. Accordingly, my name is inaccurate, and I can't figure out how to switch it. But again, it's Nicholas Goodyear for the record, an attorney here on behalf of DNC Acquisitions. Bob really took the thunder from my sales. It's a straightforward proposal here. There's 2 structures on this property, 4547 America Street. They're outdated. The upgrades would be substantial. The result would be smaller apartments. This is really market driven. And in addition to that, it's safety driven. The whole structure will become sprinklered and ADA compliant to the degree that apartments are rented out in a private context, which is a significant upgrade. We did appreciate, or we do appreciate, the feedback from the Planning Commission, the CPC, and are investigating the introduction of impervious planters and impervious area. Obviously, with the upgrade and beautification and the work to attract new tenants, as you're familiar with this developer, he typically goes above and beyond. When there's an opportunity to landscape an area, it's only going to help marketing. So I anticipate that we will have a really nice project here. And from the developer, from a practical standpoint, the public improvements in terms of sprinklers, I think, is a great addition here. So if you have further questions, it's really just works out 1-to-1 in terms of bedroom ratio. That's where we are with this, and that's what the demand is. For lots of reasons, I think that's a benefit to the city. It's a way to attract young professionals, and you don't have these large, this really 4-bedroom apartments in the front building here. Renting those, the price that's required, and amount of family members, you just don't see that day to day anymore. That was pointed out by the chair for the CPC as well. The family now start with the young professionals, and you end up maybe with a single parent with 1 child. That's what the model is, and the need is certain in that demographic in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Goodyear. I see Councilman Espinel, you got your hand up, pro tem?
I do not. Is it up? No, I'm
Yeah.
on questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hang on 1 second. One second, guys. Boy, I'll tell you, thank God for all these women. That was my hand from my mouse on your face, Councilman. So I removed it.
Mr. Chair, there was no one from the public that signed up to speak on this particular matter.
Okay, there was nobody from the public that signed up to speak on this particular matter. So do any of my committee members have any questions for Bobby or Mr. Goodyear? Okay, hearing none, can we move on to item number 2? Item number 2, we also have a letter from the CDC attached. Can I have a motion to make that Exhibit C, please?
Taking a motion.
Motion made by Councilwoman Costello, seconded by
Second.
President Pro Tem Espinola, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now I have a packet that everybody should have received that goes along with the City of Providence Planning Commission packet. Does everybody have that packet?
Yes,
Can I get a motion to make that Exhibit B, please?
taking a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Castillo, seconded by President Pro Tem Espinola. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Azar, can you speak on item number 2, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Before I speak on this, just a little disclaimer here. This is the petition for 383 Benefit Street. One of the petitioners to this is Brown University. I have a business relationship with Brown University, so I did not participate in this when the planning department was giving its advice to the City Plan Commission. So I'm here to pass along the Plan Commission's recommendation and also to provide information in general on zoning and what this particular ordinance would do. But I just want to make it clear that I'm not taking a position. And even if I were, I don't think my position with Brown would influence my decision here. So I just wanted to put that on the
So
record.
then, Bobby, if I may, Solicitor, do you see any issues with Bobby continuing?
In the capacity that he just suggested, I do not. He making an affirmative representation that he is not making an opinion here, but providing information. I would just ask Bob, in your opinion, is one in any way related to the other? In other words, is your work for or Brown or your business relationship with Brown related in any way to item number 2?
No, it's not. My relationship is that I teach at the school, and I have no interaction whatsoever with the administration or their real estate dealings.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that, his information here is just fine.
Thank you. Okay, Bobby, it's all yours.
Thank you. All right, so this is a petition to rezone a piece of property on Benefit Street. This is what anyone would consider a mansion. However, it's been used for decades as a commercial piece of property. It was an office building for a private architecture firm for a number of years, and it's also most recently been used as offices for Brown University. Brown is proposing to sell the property to a firm called M.H. Massey and Company, and this firm, this buyer, is looking to convert the building into residential dwelling units. Given that this building itself has in excess of 16,000 square feet of floor area, the current zoning designation of R2 is completely impracticable. There's no way under any scenario that this building would work as a single family or a 2-family home in today's day and age. So the petitioner is seeking to change this to convert it to a multifamily dwelling with no more than 8 dwelling units. So the City Plan Commission considered this and found that it was consistent with the comprehensive plan in the sense that one thing that the comprehensive plan is explicit about is that for large non-residential buildings in residential zones that have outlived their non-residential use, the comp plan would like to see them converted into residences, and recognizes that in many cases they're of a size that multifamily is appropriate. So given that, the City Plan Commission did find that the zoning change would be consistent with the comprehensive plan. However, the commission expressed concern that this is in the vicinity of a couple of colleges, and they did not want to see this become a facility that housed a lot of college students. So as part of their recommendation, they wanted to see an amendment to this ordinance, and this is one if the council, if this committee so desires to add this condition, you would have to vote on this prior to the close of this public hearing. So what the commission said was that college student rental housing shall be prohibited, except that college students may live in owner-occupied dwelling units. So I'll expand on that a little bit. A few years ago, the city council passed an ordinance with respect to college students, specifically that there shall be no more than 3 college students that can live together in a single family house in a single family zone. So you've already established a precedent of regulating college students. That ordinance was challenged. There was an appeal filed and it made its way all the way up to the Rhode Island Supreme Court. And the court found that your action in calling out specifically college students for regulation was a constitutional act, that it was consistent with your police powers under the Zoning Enabling Act. So we know that your body has the ability to regulate specifically college students. And given, again, the location of this building and the desire that this building not be turned into, in effect, a student dwelling, the commission asked for this condition to be attached. And just a word about the owner-occupied phrase. It's similar language to what exists today in the zoning ordinance. If you have a dwelling unit that is owner-occupied, in other words, you might imagine if someone qualifies for the homestead exemption, they live in the dwelling unit. Certainly college students could live in a unit like that. So for example, if one of these units, if they turn into condos at some point, I don't know that that's going to happen, but if they turn into condos and you have somebody who owns one of the units and has children who go to college, in an owner-occupied unit, college students would be able to live there. But what the commission was concerned about is non-owner occupied, in other words, absentee landlord units that are occupied by college students. So that's the commission's recommendation. And once again, if you were inclined to accept that condition, that's not a part of the original petition. So you would have to take a motion during this public hearing to accept that condition. And if you do, that'll be added to the ordinance before it goes to the full council, and it will appear as a footnote on the zoning map.
Thank you, Bobby. With that being said, if there's no questions on the amendment, can I have a motion to accept the amendment as read by Mr. Azar?
Taking a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Castillo, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Do we have any questions from the committee members for Bobby at this time? And Madam Clerk, do we have anybody that wants to speak on this?
We do have Patrick Doherty and Holt Massey. Patrick is representing Mr. Massey, and they're both here.
All right, let's hear from Patrick Doherty first, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patrick Doherty for the co-applicant MH Massey & Co. LLC. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for the opportunity to present before this committee. This is a very unique property, as Bob had said earlier. It is a mansion by anyone's standards. It is assessed currently by the assessor at approximately $7 million, although it's not on the tax rolls per se because it was being operated by Brown in a nonprofit capacity. My client is proposing to take it back into private ownership and create approximately 8 very, very high-end luxury, beautifully, tastefully done units. The size of the property is dramatic when juxtaposed to the properties in the neighborhood and the R2 zone. It was built in approximately 1853 to 1855. Currently on site, due to the office use that was non-conforming, there's approximately 32 parking spaces right now. As you note, the applicant had put in the ordinance with the zone change with the proposed footnote for up to 8 units. If you look at the R4 zone, we could actually, based upon the size of the property, we could probably put up to 12 units in that. But my client, right away from the very beginning, did not want to appear before the city or any of its boards or commissions thinking that he was looking to maximize and squeeze out anything and everything he could from this property. My client has a track record of tastefully developing properties. I believe at the committee or the City Plan Commission, he stated that his average holding time for properties was 30 years. So he's a very involved and responsible developer / landlord. The replacement cost put forth by the assessors, I guess it was Vision Appraisal at the time, said that in order to build this property again now, it'd be approximately $12 million. So you can imagine the detail that is in this property and how fine the accoutrements are to the building and the grounds themselves. What we're proposing to do, again, at the last meeting before the city at the City Plan Commission hearing, we stipulated that we had no problem with the restriction on student rental housing. They're not necessarily a target client or target tenant of these properties. Right now, if you look at, I think this is a perfect opportunity to zone this lot in a manner that's fitting for the size of the lot itself and the house that's on it. It's literally 7 times the minimum lot size for the R2 zone right now. It's approximately 35,000 plus square feet when the minimum lot size is 5,000. So that's a dramatic difference. And if we were to develop this to 8 units on the property, as the City Plan Commission's staff report had, we would have approximately 4,431 square feet per dwelling unit, when the surrounding zone, R2 zone, requires only 2,500 square feet of dwelling unit. So this is a great opportunity to take a property, put it on the tax rolls, put it back into use, retire a non-conforming use that really has a lot more intensity for the surrounding residential neighborhood, and really make it a gem in the neighborhood. Just to inform you, we have an excellent architect, J.P. Couture, who is former, I believe, president of the Providence Preservation Society. He's the architect that has been retained for this project. And there have been numerous outreaches towards the neighborhood associations, the Mile of History Association, the Providence Preservation Society has come out with a letter in support of this project. There have been tours given to various stakeholders, and there's been an active outreach to those interested persons in the community to ensure that what we're attempting to do and what we're putting forth here is going to meet with approval and be a perfect fit into the neighborhood, which I think it will. I believe the committee has received the detailed report of Ed Pimentel, and I have him here this evening along with Holt Massey, the principal of MH Massey and Co. Inc., or LLC rather. And if you'd like, I can present, I'd like Mr. Pimentel to just give it an overview of the highlights of why this is a perfectly in conformance with your comprehensive plan and a multitude of elements, and why the development of this property by having it zoned R4 versus R2 is favorable and desirable and will be a benefit to the city. May I have Mr. Pimentel give a little presentation?
Mr. Pimentel, would you please just state your name and your position for the record, please?
Sure. Thank you very much, members of the committee. So the name is Edward Pimentel. That's P as in Paul, I-M-E-N-T-E-L. I was engaged to do an analysis to make a conclusionary determination as to the appropriateness of the zone change. So to that end, I did a comprehensive analysis of your, a thorough review of your comprehensive plan, as well as I did a comprehensive neighborhood analysis. So I analyzed the subject block and all the surrounding blocks. I analyzed a total of 51 lots, and I believe that my neighborhood analysis is in the record, as is my report. So in regards to the character of the surrounding neighborhood, as I indicated, there's a total of 51 properties that I analyzed. 48 are presently residentially improved. And the current density is 1 unit per 2,800, almost 2,900 square feet. As Attorney Doherty indicated, if you apply that same neighborhood density to the subject property, you could actually argue as to the appropriateness of 12 units, and it wasn't the intent to maximize the usage of the property. And in fact, by not maximizing it, we're going to be able to then also realize improvements to the exterior too. Right now, there's quite a number of off-street parking spaces because it was serving a pre-existing legal non-conforming office operation. You've got numerous curb cuts. You've got parallel parking and angled parking, which is inappropriate because it's not a one-way directed travel as is required under the regulations. And we're hoping to cure all of those issues, reduce the quantity of parking, provide more aesthetics, more greenery, and so forth. Furthermore, the property in itself is an anomaly. As both Mr. Azar and Attorney Doherty have stated on the record that the property in question is approximately 35,500 square feet. The average lot size is approximately 10,000. The average improved property is approximately 8,900. So this property is 4 to 5 times the average property. The building itself has a footprint of an excess of 7,100 square feet, approximately 16,500 square feet of true usable gross floor area, and in excess of 23,000 square feet of gross floor area. Once again, compare that to the average. The average lot footprint size is 2,400 and the average usable gross floor area is 5,000. So once again, this property is 3 times. It's an anomaly in the neighborhood. It literally is a mansion. So what could you use it for? Well, under the current zoning, it would be single and duplex only. I don't believe that would be either reasonable nor economically feasible. So we need a zone change. What should we rezone it to? Well, R4 is the only one that would be the most viable, given the fact that directly abutting this property, there's an 8-unit, 9-unit, 2 separate structures of 8 units and 9 units. There's a vast multifamily in the surrounding blocks. And in fact, it was interesting because even within your own comprehensive plan, right across Benefit Street, it talks about the appropriateness of rezoning that whole block from RG to R4, recognizing that multifamily is the appropriate now designation of this neighborhood, given the conversion of all these large facilities to outside of commercial purposes and to more multifamily needs. So in conclusion, although I know we've already received a positive recommendation from the CPC in regards to the appropriateness, I'll just read a couple of quick quotes from the comprehensive plan. And I quote, "The plan calls for the concentration of growth in existing urban centers, maximizing state investment areas with existing infrastructure and promoting efficient development through infill and higher densities." Another one, "Most anticipated development activity can be described as reuse or redevelopment." It talks about encouraging the reuse of existing buildings. And then finally, it talks about accommodating greater density in areas such as this transitional areas. So you're going up from the center of the city, up through into College Hill. It is a transitional area, so the higher residential density is most appropriate. So in conclusion, I would state that zone change is consistent with the comprehensive plan and consistent with the character of this neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Pimentel. Mr. Massey, is there anything you'd like to add? And if you would kindly state your name and your position for the record, please.
Yeah, it's Michael Holt Massey. I'm the proposed purchaser of the property, which is dependent on the zoning change. I I think everything has been said about the benefits to the city, and I thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, may I just add may I just add one more thing, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know. What do you think? Yes, sir.
I just like to assure the committee as well, and make note of the fact that this property is located squarely within the historic district and is subject to HDC jurisdiction. There are no plans to change the footprint of the building or alter the exterior per se. If we were to have to do that in some manner, if it came up in the plans that something of that matter was desirable, we would have to satisfy the HDC. We're looking to really just improve this property, bring it back onto the tax rolls, put it to good use, and have something that the neighbor can be proud of and lessen the intensity. And that's all I have to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dowdy. Any questions by the committee members to anybody that spoke? Mr. Massey, Mr. Dowdy, Mr. Azar, do we have any questions? No?
Mr. Chair, I do have one member of the public that signed up to speak on this matter.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We got a member of the public that would like to speak.
Her name is Susan Costello, and I'm promoting her to a panelist right now. Take a minute for her to rejoin.
Okay. We're waiting for Susan Costello.
Hi.
Hi, Susan, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Can you please just state, yes, we can. Can you just state your name for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Susan Costello, and I live at 13 John Street. And I would like to make one statement that this mansion is one of several mansions in the nearby area. I asked the committee to vote against changing the official zoning map of the city of Providence. R4 zoning would completely change the character of the important historic site. Currently a stately mansion surrounded by open space. The open space complements the building. I'm against the petition because R4 under site development in zoning ordinance states, quote, more than one principal building is permitted on a lot. If you refer to the colored zoning map, including the agenda pocket, the Plantations development shown in brown is an example of an R4 development. The Plantations development is a series of multifamily units that run between Power and James Street off of Main Street. There's nothing in the petition's proposed wording that precludes multiple structures on the site. Quote, use on said lot shall be limited to multifamily with no more than 8 dwelling units. Under the current R2 zoning, only one principal building, the existing Thomas F. Hoppen House, is permitted on the lot. I'm against the petition because R4 allows reduced minimum lot sizes for new subdivisions. And this could result in increased building density on John Street. Were the Hoppen House lot to be subdivided, R4 zoning requires a minimum of 3,500 square feet per new subdivision, in contrast to the current R2 zoning, which requires 5,000 square feet minimum for new subdivisions. Again, the zoning map offers a visual reference. The two odd lots to the north of 383 Benefit Street combined are slightly less than 10,500 square feet. Under R4, that same area size on the Hoppen House lot would accommodate 3 new lots, and they would probably be along John Street. I'm against the petition because the request to change the official zoning map of the city of Providence is based on a purchase agreement between Brown and a potential buyer, and it's not a zoning variance request. It's not a statement asking for a request to renovate the Hoppen House and turn it into 8 individual dwellings within the existing structure. And it's a request to change the official zoning map of the city of Providence, and so it would be a permanent change. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, any questions from the committee members to Mr. Azar, Mr. Massey, or Mr. Dowdy at this time? Hearing none, we can move on to item number 3. You said last thing was the last thing you were going to say, Mr. Dowdy.
I did, Mr. Chairman, but if I may just briefly address the comments that were just made. I understand Ms. Costello's concern, and let me lower my hand first. But there already are multiple structures on this lot. There's a stable that is out there that is proposed to be turned into 2 townhomes. And one of the things that I do note is that, as I said, we're not looking to change the footprint, and any alteration of this property whatsoever is going to have to go before the HDC. And I highly doubt that the HDC is going to allow an unrestrained development or a subdivision of this lot in the manner that is the most feared. So that being said, I think there are sufficient controls in there that would manage to keep this property as intended to be developed by my client going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dowdy. Okay, here, no.
Costello has her hand up again.
Ms. Costello, you already made your statement. I'm going to move on with the hearing. Can we go on, if there are no questions from the committee members, can we go on to item number 3, please? Item number 3, we also have a letter from the CDC attached to the package. I'd like to get a motion to make that letter from the CDC Exhibit D, please.
You get a motion?
Motion made by Councilwoman Costello, seconded by?
Second.
By Councilwoman Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Committee members, don't be shy. Okay, item number 3, Mr. Azar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a petition to rezone, pardon me here. Yes, here it is. This is a petition to rezone 2 parcels of land at 18 Marcello Street and 25 Piedmont Street. This property is located very close to Atwells Avenue and is directly adjacent to an existing C1 commercial zone. It's zoned currently R3. Most of the property is vacant. There is a 3-family house on a portion of the 18 Marcello Street property. I'm sorry, the 25 Piedmont Street property. The petitioner is seeking to build an apartment building on these 2 lots, and the apartment building would not be otherwise allowed in the R3 zoning district. So the request here is to change the zoning to C1 by simply moving the zone line over from the existing C1. This is very similar to several other proposals that have come before this body in the past for zonings in this area to allow for multifamily development. Since this is a proposal for simply multifamily, the petition includes a condition that would appear on the zoning map that says that the uses for the property would be limited to single family, 2-family, and multifamily uses. The CPC letter that has been introduced lays out the City Plan Commission's findings of fact, namely that this is in an area that would be considered conducive to a multifamily use. And also the creation of new housing would be consistent with objective H2 of the comprehensive plan, which encourages developing new housing. So given its location, given the comprehensive plan, and also incidentally, the fact that the commission did give preliminary plan approval to this development, the City Plan Commission recommends that the zoning petition as filed be approved by the council.
Thank you, Mr. Azar. Do we have anybody here, Madam Clerk, to speak on this matter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have Joel Rocha, Esquire, who submitted the petition on behalf of the petitioner.
Good evening, Joelle. Would you please just state your name and your position for the record, please?
Sure. Good evening. Joelle Rocha. I'm the attorney for the applicant on this petition this evening. I also have Tina, Julie from ZDS, who has the presentation for this. Hopefully she has her hand raised. Okay.
Hang on 1 second. Okay.
They can share their screen and we can.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Ms. Rocha. Is there a reason why the clerk did not get the exhibit from Susan? I mean, from Julie?
So this is the plan that was approved by the Plan Commission last week. We can certainly provide those to the clerk. Obviously,
But for tonight, can you share it on your screen?
Absolutely,
So
that's
me,
the
that's-
plan. So first, I wanted to start off, and Bob always steals my thunder, so I'll jump right in. But and many of you are familiar with this type of zone change in this area. We've actually, between us and the architect, this is, I think, our fourth one. I know Councilwoman Miller is very familiar with these projects in her area. And so I just wanted to first share my screen, and then I'll leave it to the professional to show you what this project looks like. But just to give you an idea of the zone, it's not, we're not rezoning this out of left field, so to speak. So this is the line for C1 as it exists now. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
So the non-colored version is in your packet, but sometimes, at least for me, to see it in color is a little bit easier. So this pink line for C1 has shifted down over time for a couple of these projects, which isn't this petitioner, but similar in density and scale. There is a 4-story located on this lot, as well as 1080 and up here on 1079. The lots at issue are right here, 522 and 965. So we'd be moving this C1 zone down to this point. So with, as Bob said, these asterisks that no commercial uses be allowed, and the properties be limited to 2-family, 3-family, and multifamily uses. So that just kind of gives the broader picture, I think, of what's going on in the area. I'll turn it over to Julie to show you what this project looks like, which has been, like Bob said, approved at preliminary plan by the City Plan Commission as of last week.
Thank you. Julie Bartlett, can you please just state your name and your position for the record, please?
Certainly. Julie Bartlett, architect with ZDS, representing this project here. This building is about 16,290 square feet. It is about approximately a little over 4,000 square feet per floor. We have stepped in the ground floor on the corner of Adams and Piedmont right here. And the building, we tried to be, as we were considering this, the scale, we wanted to be sensitive to the neighborhood, but recognizing what Joelle just mentioned, that there are other multi-family projects in this region that we have worked on specifically and are scaled what we feel is appropriate with the neighborhood. But we wanted to respond with materiality, so it is clad in a light colored lap siding with some brick at the base, and sort of it wraps up the rear of the building. We announced the entry and sort of a balcony opportunity in just only 2 locations with some proposed metal clad finish, as well as some wood paneling to sort of bring some warmth to these areas. And we also wanted to introduce, because there are ground floor units, we wanted to make sure that as we have the ground floor units, we have some planter boxes in front of them. So sort of the glass doesn't go all the way to the sidewalk here. And we're also looking to activate Adams Street a little bit we're proposing a mural on this street as well, which also conceals the sort of utility rooms on this street, but we also thought it would activate the pedestrian experience as well. It's 19 units. It's a mix of 16 one-beds and 2 and 3 two-bedroom units. The one-bedrooms range from 500 to 650 square feet, which is fairly typical for this area. And the 2 bedrooms, are all on the corner here above the entry, which are roughly 950 square feet each. If there's any questions about anything further, I can certainly explain anything additional. Thank you.
We can certainly provide the council with the full plan set as well.
Certainly.
So this project, the City Plan Commission and the Planning Department have already gone through the consistency with the comprehensive plan, like the other projects in the area. We think this
Hang on 1 second, please. If you can, I was on mute, I didn't realize that. If you can submit the plans to the clerk before this hits the city council floor, so our colleagues will have a chance to look at it also.
She will have them tomorrow.
Before you continue, I do have a quick question. What's the rental income for the units going to be in this particular building?
Sure. So I did speak with my clients about that before this meeting, because that's often a topic that comes up at these. They are doing some preliminary market analysis. I think as a lot of these units come online is really going to be the determining factor in this area. But they're looking between somewhere between 1,500 and 1,700 for these units. Obviously market dependent when it is constructed, and demand dependent. So that's the target.
And I interrupted you, so if you want to go ahead, Julie.
Sure, thank you. So you and the council will, the clerk will have those plans tomorrow. We'll get them over there. But from the comprehensive plan standpoint, we believe this project and the zone change complement the comprehensive plan in that, not just the comprehensive plan, but the provision of housing in general. You've seen an influx of housing units in this area, which we believe there's a demand for. So providing additional housing units is spoken about in your comprehensive plan, and we believe, therefore, this project would be consistent with that plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we can have our screen back.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions for Joelle or for Julie? Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you did ask the question on my mind about rent. I'm also curious about parking arrangements for these units, and if you could also speak to, so now I'm trying to keep a tally of how many one-bedroom apartments are coming online in this neighborhood. If you could speak to what your clients really think the continued demand is, because right at this point we've got many one bedrooms coming online in a very small area. So those are my two continued questions. Thanks.
Right, thank you. So as to the parking, obviously in this in the C1 zone, there's no parking required. We have had that conversation, just like my other clients, and that if there's a demand for parking, they will have to go out and make arrangements. They're not going to have this building be empty because they can't provide parking. We haven't, in the area with the units coming online, we haven't seen that much demand. So I think that's telling for what the city's done with the zoning ordinance. So it seems that that's been consistent with what the thought process was. But again, that will be also market driven to some extent. If the prospective tenants want parking, then arrangements will have to be made. As to the one bedroom units, a couple of the project across the street actually reconfigured a little bit when it went back in front of the Plan Commission to change and adjust to demand and making bigger units. Right now, these clients think that there is enough demand for the one bedroom. I think that's probably because the generally smaller units plus no parking really drives that one bedroom demand. But they will be looking at that in detail as the design goes forward. But as of now, they think there's enough out there for that one bedroom. And hopefully there is between young professionals. What we're seeing at the other units is young professionals, even some graduate students, and that's who's occupying these units as they come online.
Thank you.
You all set, Councilwoman? Any other questions? Thank you. Any other questions on this particular matter from the committee? Joelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, thank you. Bob, thank you again. We're going to now move on to item number 4. Last item of the night, the public hearing. Hang on. Okay, item number 4, we also have a letter attached from the CPC. Can we make that? Come on. Exhibit E, please. Motion to make the letter from the CPC Exhibit E.
Motion.
Motion made by, who was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Motion made by Councilman Costello, seconded by Councilman Miller. Is that good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Javier.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This one is another petition to change the zoning map. In this case, we have a piece of property at 253 Federal Street. It's a large building that for many years, according to information from the petitioner, has been operating as a 5-unit apartment building. That would make it non-conforming in the R3 zone. If it were that simple, then the house could continue to exist as a 5-family. But the issue is that the city's records don't reflect the current use. The city's records say that the legal use of this property is for 3 dwelling units. This is a sizable building one where you would expect more than 3 units. It's also on an oversized lot. So this is, in the opinion of the Planning Department and the City Plan Commission, a very good candidate for rezoning to legalize the current use. I think it would be a considerable hardship to the owner if they had to remove 2 dwelling units to comply with the zoning ordinance. This is not a case where the zoning board would grant a variance because as a use variance, the standard for hardship just doesn't match up with the existing conditions here. So really the recourse that these owners have is to petition the council. And this is really the purpose of the R4 zone. So this petition is to rezone from R3 to R4. If that's done, there will be more than enough lot area, and the 5 dwelling units will be legal. My understanding is that there's a new owner here. I believe it's going to be an owner-occupied piece of property. So the City Plan Commission did recommend in favor of this, once again finding it consistent with the comprehensive plan. The one condition that the commission wanted to impose on this, not a condition that would have to appear on the zoning map, not one that would result in any amendment of this ordinance, but one that we would like, again, to work with the petitioner on, is that the site is very heavily paved, more so than is currently allowed by the zoning ordinance. And in our opinion, it has far more parking spaces than would be required for any 5-unit building. So we would like to see this property brought into conformance with the current regulations as it pertains to impervious surface and tree canopy. But other than that, we're strongly in favor of this.
Excuse me, thank you, Bobby. Mr. Conley, please state your name and your position for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Dylan Conley on behalf of the applicants, the owners, Robert and Lynn Comier. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to share my screen. I've got a brief presentation. I won't be going through that many of the details as this application falls in line with several of the other applications that you've seen before. But what we really have, the bottom line is we're going to maintain the status quo, and we're just going to basically legalize the status quo and improve some of the building. The health and safety and interior of the building will be improved. It's historically been used as 5 units with actually a little ice cream store off the side. We're not selling any ice cream just yet, but we're going to maintain the 5 residential units. The green space, we're going to unpave the entranceway to the large parking lot. The goal is to plant a couple trees that are conform with the wires above, so you'll have kind of improved greenery. Again, it's to maintain the status quo of how the front and rear units on the first floor, split left and right units on the second floor, and then a larger third floor unit. To the extent that there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But just as Mr. Azar stated, the petition to change to R4 is really what we're required to do to maintain its historic use. So that's why we're here before you today.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Councilwoman Miller, this is your area. Would you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Chair. I just want to thank the CPC for pointing out the tree canopy piece of this. And again, I've spoken to the petitioner and legal counsel and Mr. Azar, and I'm supportive of this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman. Any questions from the committee members for Bobby or Councilor Conley? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn by President Pro Temp Espinal.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have. See you in a couple of minutes for the meeting upon the rise. Thank you. I go listen to me. Oops. You got everybody with us? Got everybody? Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting upon the rise of ordinance. Roughly 6:10. Clerk, call the roll.
Chairman Narducci,
Here.
Chairwoman Sophia,
Present.
Councilwoman Harris,
Present.
Councilor Miller,
Present.
Councilman Espinal,
Present.
present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay. I'd like to have a motion on item number 1 to accept the CPC letter
Taking a motion.
as exhibit F. Motion made by Councilman Castillo, seconded by
Second.
President Pro Tem Espinal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Can I then have a motion to accept item number 1? I'm sorry, motion to approve item number 1, I think was just made by Councilman Castillo. Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Miller and Councilman Espinal, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 2.
Mr. Chair,
Again, can I get it? Yes, I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
that's okay. I just wanted to interrupt. Could we have an opportunity to discuss after motions have been made and seconded? Could we have an opportunity for discussion?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. If
Do
you
you
could
want
just
to
call,
discuss
if-
it?
the last item I'm fine with. If you could call for discussion on future ones, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can do that. Well, everybody's all set with item number 1 then? Okay, moving to item number 2. Again, there's a CPC letter attached. Can I get a motion to accept it as Exhibit G, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Miller, seconded by President Pro Tem Espinal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And in case you didn't notice, I got my new gavel and my new nameplate too. I want to thank Mike West for. So at this time, can I?
Just the, exhibit packet there.
I didn't have it with this. We need the exhibit package for item number 2. Can I have him, can we, make that Exhibit G, please? H. Motion to make
So
it
moved.
Exhibit H, please.
So
Thank
moved.
you, Councilwoman Miller.
Second.
Can I get a second by President Pro Tem Espinal? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Can we approve, can we have a motion to approve item number 2, please? Somebody want to make a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion made by Senior Deputy Majority Leader Harris, seconded by President Pro Tem Espinal. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, discussion. Let's open it for discussion first. I was gonna do the discussion after, but that's okay. Any discussion on item number 2? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. And we'll move on to item number 3. Let him lie on, Jay. Again, we have the letter from the CPC, Exhibit I. Can I have a motion to accept as Exhibit I?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Councilman Miller, seconded by Pro Tem Espinal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. That's item number 3. Is there any discussion on item number 3? Councilwoman Miller?
Mr. Chair, are we discussing a motion at this point? Okay, so I'd
No,
like
the item itself.
I will just say, I was just looking at when I heard the proposed rental units, the cost of $1,500 a month for what is going to be like up to 1,500 square feet. I have some concerns about this development. If we were building affordable housing, building housing that's affordable to the residents who live there now, at the same rate that we were bringing on market rate housing for really, these units are not for people who live in the neighborhood. They're to bring people in, and I'm all for that, but we cannot do that at the expense of us not having folks who live in the neighborhood find a home. So, at $1,500 a month, you'd need to be making at least $60,000 a year. I think we all know that the 30% of your income for rent is not totally. That's not a really good ratio anymore, right? We've got a lot of other expenses, but so you need to be making at least 60 a year. The median income for Federal Hill is, I think, in the mid 40s. And if you look, I just found some data here. The largest group of people are earning between $10,000 and $20,000, $19,999 a year. That's the largest single group of income earners in Federal Hill. And so at this point, I just have some significant questions about the kind of direction that we're going by continuously moving forward with these market rate units and not having as fast a pace on our affordable housing. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I can't hear you. I don't know if
I was gonna say, why can't we hear the chair?
Sorry about that, I was on mute.
Ah,
All right, so then again, I apologize. And I'm sitting here getting mad that nobody's answering me. So with that being said by Councilwoman Miller, motion to approve item number 3? Okay. Motion to deny item number 3? Okay. Motion to continue item number 3?
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I really,
Not at all.
okay, may I? All right. I really want to say that Councilwoman Miller is so right, especially in this era of time when we're seeing so many people struggling in this crisis and emergency. I don't think this is nothing to do with what we are entertaining tonight. We did hear from the developers and petitioners, but going forward, I think she has laid something on our hearts and conscience to think about. I'm just taking it like that. I think that's the delivery that she made tonight, which I really supported. Very well said, by the way, but I think it's a responsibility of us to think about who's the city for? Is it for us to remain here, or are we being priced out of our city? So it's just so well said. And I don't want to confuse a vote tonight.
Thank you, Leader Harris. Then again, with that being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to deny item number 3. Or would the committee rather make a motion to continue item number 3? If I'm getting no... President Pro Tem.
If I may, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. So, Councilwoman Miller has raised some legitimate concerns and questions. Also, in regards to the parking, I didn't hear some clarifications in regards to that. So there's still work to be done here, and there's still questions to be answered. So perhaps a motion to continue will be in order so that those concerns can be addressed.
Councilman, I don't know if I can be heard at this in committee. Okay.
No, that's what I was just asking, and no, because there's no testimony at this time. So again, I mean, I don't want to sit here all night. I need to find out if the committee wants to continue this matter or deny this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that Pro Tem Espinal just made a motion to continue, which I would second, assuming he did.
Well, I will make the motion to continue this item.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made to continue item number 3 by President Pro Tem Espinal, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. So moving on to item number 4. Excuse me. Again, we have a letter from the CPC that we would have to make Exhibit J. Can I get a motion to make it Exhibit J, please?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Deputy Majority Leader Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to approve item number 4.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Councilman Espinal. Any discussion on this particular matter? Okay, hearing none, motion's been approved. Madam Clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So I would like to take the matters that were approved by this committee and pass them to the full council for a vote. Hearing no other business before this honorable body, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by
Third.
President Pro Tem, seconded by Councilwoman Harris, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All